My life. Chapter 1. I was brought into this world by my parents on January 23rd, 1977, at 9:34 p.m. at Bellin Hospital in Green Bay, Wisconsin. My name comes from my mom and dad's attorney at the time. His name, of course, was Brian. My parents had a lot of respect for Brian, and they also liked the strong, dignified, awesome name that is Brian. My middle name, Douglas, comes from my dad's first name, and my last name, Lavalette, is French-Canadian in origin. My parents' names are Renee and Doug, and I also have a younger sister, Kimberly. I don't have any famous ancestors.
The sad and frustrating search for a missing De Pere boy goes on.
Pilots in Door County failed to spot the body of 15-year-old Brian Lavalette today.
We come together in grief, acknowledging our human loss as we celebrate the life of Brian Lavalette.
And I promise, in your name and memory, we all will accomplish great things.
Thank you for joining me today. My name is Mark. I am from LongIslandWatch.com. The brief video you just saw, actually it's like 6 or 7 minutes in its entirety, I will link to down below. It is about Brian Lavalette and the scholarship foundation that bears his name that was started by his family. So we are here today to sell a watch to donate money to charity. The charity in general gives scholarships out to people going to higher education. So that's the foundation. There's 2 watches. We are selling them. I don't want to waste too much time in the beginning because I know you want to see the watch. So we will get over to the watch now. And then after I show you the watch, we're going to come back and we're probably going to talk for a little while because I have a lot to say about this one. So let's get over to the watches. So let's go over the watch that we are selling, or the watches that we are selling to support the amazing cause. The watch is the Islander Journey BDL 77, BDL being Brian's initial, 77 being the year he was born. It's going to come in 2 varieties, a 40 millimeter and a 36 millimeter. They will carry my stock part numbers ISL 273 and 274. So let's go over the basics. We are looking at so this one is a 40 millimeter case. It is 13 millimeters thick to a slightly domed sapphire crystal with inner AR. 47.5 millimeters on the lug tip to lug tip. It is an exhibition screw down case back. We'll get more of that in a second. 100 meters of water resistance, screw down crown, 20 millimeter lug. The bracelet is solid link, solid end link. It is sized with screws, 3 positions of micro adjust on the clasp. It is a screw down crown for that 100 meters of water resistance, so you can pull it out, unscrew the crown, you can wind it. It's running on an NH35 movement, hand winds, hacks. Pull it out 2 clicks, so the second hand stops, and you can change the time. There is a ghost position for the date, but spinning it does nothing. There's no mechanics on the inside of the watch. It's push down and turn for your 100 meters of water resistance. The crown has our logo on it, but let's come up on the dial. So the dial itself is brushed silver. We have applied markers. And then the 3, 6, and 9 are done in Arabics, triangle, a little bit of a chapter ring with the minute markers and the sub-second hash marks. The hands are done in a polished silver, and that line you see is lume, which we'll get to in a minute. And then the green seconds hand is sort of a Green Bay Packers green. On the dial, we have the Islander logo at the top, and at the bottom, we have the Lavalette Foundation logo. I'm going to read to you something that is written on the Lavalette Foundation website about what their logo signifies. So it's best to hear it from them. Our logo is special to us. Brian is represented by the white figure and the spirit he left behind. You can see 4 people in that figure. The other three figures symbolize Doug, Renee, and Kim Lavalette, who established the foundation in Brian's name and memory in 1992. The wave below represents the Bay of Green Bay, where Brian drowned. 3 steps in the wave are the steps filled with hope by the Lavalette family and the journey to higher education for our scholarship recipients. So really cool logo, means a lot to them. It should mean a lot to you as well. So let's come over to the case back and try to get a better view of it. So I popped open the bracelet just to get a better look at the case back. So you have the motto, "The journey is the reward." That is a motto that Brian penned early in his life, his name. The series number, this is actually number 0. So I said there's 77 of each. There's actually 78 of each. Number 0 is going to Doug, who is Brian's father. My logo, LavaletteFoundation.org, is their website. And then on the rotor, again, is their logo. And then you can see at the bottom, right on the counterweight, it says Brian Lavalette Scholarship Foundation. So that is the 40 millimeter version. I will put that one aside. I'll put that bracelet back together for when I try it on. And now let's get into the 36 millimeter version. So the guts are the same, the dial is the same, the case back is going to be very similar or the same. The bracelet, not the same curvature, same end links or anything, but it's still solid link, solid end link, size with screws, 3 positions of micro on the clasp. So we're looking at a 36 millimeter case. This is 11.3 to a flat sapphire crystal. 43.5 on the lug tip to lug tip. So this is a much nicer sized watch, or much nicer. Not nicer is a bad word. It's a smaller sized watch. You want to call it male and female, that's fine, but I'm sure guys will pick up the smaller one as well. This is actually the same case as the Islander Manhasset. So same 100 meters of water resistance, screw down crown. This one's going to weigh 125 grams, whereas the larger one weighed 150 grams. You are still looking at a 20 millimeter bracelet. I'll come up on it. You can see the beautiful dial, the polished silver hands, and still that green seconds hand. On this one, you do have a little bit, not a little bit, you have a rehaut, or you might call it a chapter ring. So it's slanted down, so the dial is a little bit smaller. You did not, let me just get my gloves on that. You did not have that on this one. So definitely a smaller viewing size on the dial there. But here they are, I guess. Right, let's look at them side by side so you can see the size difference. Really, really nice. Included with the purchase of either watch is the book that was penned by Doug, Renee, and Kim Lavalette with a co-author, Carolyn Gazella. The Journey is the Reward. Doug sent me this book. I am a reader. Nonetheless, I did read it cover to cover, and it was a really good read. Tearjerker at times, of course, but very inspirational. And again, I'd like to just read you from their words what the book is about. In 1992, tragedy struck the Lavalette family with the loss of their beloved son and brother in a drowning accident off Doris County, Chambers Island. A decade later, along with co-author Carolyn Gazella, they put the finishing touches on a book titled The Journey is the Reward, a powerful reflection of their story, one of courage, hope, and inspiration. This unique narrative offers a glimpse into the family's journey long after the headlines faded. Over the years, the Lavalettes embarked on a difficult healing process, slowly capturing their thoughts and emotions on paper. The result was a book that not only chronicles their experience, but also challenges common beliefs about grief and coping with loss. The Journey is the Reward encourages readers to cherish every moment of life, offering insights that can help others navigate their own journeys through adversity. So also included is a deck of cards, the Lavalette Scholarship Foundation deck of cards. This is a really cool deck that they're giving away, and I'll open it. Of course, Brian is going to be the Ace of Spades, but then you'll see various organizations and people and scholarships that are given in their honor. So I will read you their words on the deck of cards. One of the many milestones the Lavalette Foundation reached was when they established their 50th scholarship. Actually, they're 52nd. To commemorate that achievement, they specially designed a deck of playing cards with each card representing a specific scholarship. These scholarships and cards honor the individual or organization that has made a positive difference in the lives of others. The jokers in each deck are actually the Lavalette family. The hope is that every time the cards are used, memories are shared and conversations about these incredible people are had. So for reference, my wrist is 6.5, 6 3/4. So this is how it looks on my wrist. This is the 40 millimeter version. It looks great, really nice. That silver dial is gorgeous. And the 36 millimeter, which would be geared more towards smaller wrists, and maybe at 6.5, 6 3/4. I probably am one of those smaller wristed people, but here it is. Looks fantastic. And the lume, let's see it. So the lume is Super Luminova C3, and it is spectacular. The Arabics, the hashes, everything is lume, the triangle, and then the hands have that glowing C3 outline, which is so, so cool. Thanks for sticking around. So got a bunch of things I want to discuss with you. Probably most importantly would be the donation. We'll get to that in a second. So the price of the watch with the book and the deck of cards is $299. So I showed you all that stuff there, whether it's a 36 millimeter or the 40 millimeter, and again, they are limited to 78 pieces each. Myself and my wife did actually take number 76 for ourselves because that is our birth year, and that will get into kind of a little bit what I want to talk about, how I met Doug, became to get familiar with his foundation and get involved in this. So Doug was introduced to me by a mutual friend, you know him as Ty Alexander Photography, on Instagram. And basically Ty started reaching out to me early this year asking if we could do custom dials. There's a charity, et cetera, et cetera. And you know, I looked it up, 4-star rating on Charity Navigator, top marks all around. Great guy, talked to Doug, and well, it turns out we designed a watch. And through the whole process, I gotta be honest with you, Doug never, this is Brian's father, Doug, the guy, the president of the charity, of the Lavalette Scholarship Foundation. He never asked me what my donation was going to be. He just assumed I would do the right thing and donate some money. And also, of course, you know, the unwritten or the undiscussed is using the channel for me to do a video on it and kind of raise awareness of this foundation. So that to me was not odd, but I was like, wow, this guy, he really just wants to do good, and he's relying on me to do what is correct. So I've kind of become friendly with Doug over the last several months. So why did this story resonate with me? There's several reasons. Call it happenstance, call them coincidences. When young Brian passed away, he was 15. My middle son is 15. You know, it goes without saying. Can't imagine. As Doug was talking to me and telling me, oh, when he passed away in 1992, 15 years old, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, wait a second. I was that age. I was around that age at that time. And then it turns out, well, if he was alive today, he would be just 2 months younger than me. I'm November of 76. He's January of 77. That kind of hit me hard. I'm into college. I'm into higher education. I was extremely fortunate enough to go to an institution that did not charge tuition when I went back in the 90s. So I've always been a fan of higher education, and if you can do it without paying, that is awesome. And lastly, you know, my oldest just started in college. University, you might call it if you're overseas, and dropped him off 2 weeks ago. And through the good fortune that I've had in running this business, channel, everything, he doesn't have to worry about paying for college. He doesn't have to worry about loans. None of my kids do. They'll all be taken care of. So this whole message, this whole thing kind of resonated with me. So looking back on all that, I'm thinking to myself, well, what's my donation going to be? And it was staring me right in the face. It's literally everything. I'm going to donate 100% of the sale of the watch, not the profit. I'm going to donate the revenue. So you pay $299 for the watch. I'm going to donate to the foundation $299. So that's math on the spot, 154 watches or so at $300 a pop. You could do the math, roughly $45,000 or so. So basically, I am floating the manufacturer, import, marketing, all the other costs of the watch, and we're just going to donate everything to the Brian Lavalette Scholarship Foundation. I really see no other way that I can do this. It's just the right thing to do, and it means a lot. It means a lot, I'll tell you, not just me, to the entire Island Watch, Islander family, from my sister who did all the pre-packing and everything, to the marketing guys who are making things happen, to the guy that actually has to pack and ship everything. This is totally outside of our normal wheelhouse of, we're shipping books and a deck of cards. Everything's different, but everybody is banding together, and we just thought this would be the best thing for us to do. So if you can't tell, I consider Doug a friend. I cannot wait one day to meet Doug and his wife, Renee, and his daughter, Kim. Did I just say I didn't meet Doug? There's a fly around here, sorry. I met Doug at the Chicago Wind-Up show. He came around. We went out for hot dogs with one of the foundation board members, Bruce. Great time, great guy, loved talking to him. So how can people help? If you want to buy the watch, well, that's a great thing. Maybe the watch will sell out really quick, and that would just be awesome. If you don't want to buy the watch, I'll leave links down below. You can donate, of course. But even more than that, spread the word. If you have any influence, spread the word about the charity. Spread the word about the watch. Maybe get people to buy it. But more importantly, and this is the last thing I'm going to say, if you're watching my video, you're either tied to the Lavalette Scholarship Foundation or you like watches. Well, this is awesome. December 11th, 2024, there will be an auction at Christie's. Yes, and it is all the proceeds are going to the foundation. It was, I believe Eric Wind, I hope I'm saying his name right, I don't know if it's Wind or Wind, but Wind Vintage on Instagram, has a lot of cool vintage used watches. He's donated a watch. He's facilitated this whole charity event at Christie's. There's watches that Elvis wore, Kenny Rogers, there's various vintage Rolexes, Oris's that are going to be up for sale. So that's December 11th, 2024. And then also, I'll link below, there's actually a Buy It Now website for watches that won't go to charity, but they are, sorry about that. The watches that won't go to auction. They are kind of like a Buy It Now listing. They've all been donated by people. I looked at it. There's some pretty cool pieces, some cool vintage Olympics pieces and some other things, like Olympics, like the games. So pretty cool. You can go there, you can buy it, and the money goes right to the charity. But I think that's it. It's pretty much all I wanted to say. So I am Mark. I am from LongIslandWatch.com. I am proud, thrilled, happy to be a part of this. I hope it does great things. The journey is the reward is a saying that was coined or penned by Brian in his young life. And it's an awesome journey. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.